Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Beyond the Sidelines. I'm Chase Dykema, joined with Will and Anthony. One year since Kobe passed away.
It's very sad that this happened. Kobe was a role model to a lot of people. He carried the basketball world for a solid 15 years. The last 5 years he was in the league, he was kind of just there. He wasn't great. I mean, the last game he scored 60 points, but he was super inefficient when doing it. But we're talking about good things about Kobe, not that. And, I remember when he died, the entire world stopped. It was almost as bad as when, the government shut down because of Corona. That's the effect Kobe had on the world, is everything stopped for a solid 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, because he was so inspirational. Listen to some of his post-game interviews. He'd always tell people, never give up. Keep chasing your dreams, and that's what he did. And most people listened to him, and some became stars in their own way. And it's just, whenever he died, like you said, the world stopped, and 2020 fell down, I think, after that. He was kind of the glue that was holding the world together.
Yeah, he was the glue, and, his work ethic, after he died, especially, it started to rub off on people. It rubbed off on people before, but now, that he's dead, it was everything was for Kobe in the basketball world, or everything was for Kobe in everything you did, just because he worked so hard for everything he had. And it's just super sad that him and his daughter Gigi had to tragically die.
You saw it, the games that were played the day after. Everyone, had their own tribute. Some would take 8-second backcourt violations. Some would take 24-second shot clock violations. LeBron, I don't think he played a couple games because Kobe died, because Kobe and LeBron were great friends. It just shows the kind of impact he had on the NBA world more, and again, the impact on the real world too, but everyone around the NBA felt that death around.
Yeah, very sad.
Chiefs beat the Bills, advanced to second straight Super Bowl.
I guess this means that they're the next dynasty after Bill Belichick's Patriots kind of went down this season, although Tom Brady leaving kind of approves that. But Andy Reid came in 2013 and revolutionized the Chiefs even before Alex Smith. They were still contenders, although they never really made it past the divisional. But then they go out, they get Patrick Mahomes, and he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. I think the Chiefs are just unstoppable at this moment. They're the best team by far.
Yeah, I think that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have a very high potential to become the next Brady Belichick, and probably better, just because Patrick Mahomes has shown that he's on a different level in the playoffs, especially if he goes down early. So part of in the AFC Championship game, he went down almost 10-0 and then came back, and they didn't allow a single point until the fourth quarter or something crazy like that. And in the playoffs, he's just a different breed, and I think that offense will be unstoppable as long as if they can keep Kelsey, Hill, and Mahomes. Even if you lose Hill, just keep McCall Hardman. Always have that speedster. And if you can't retain him, just be the speedster.
Yeah, I think Hardman's an up-and-coming superstar, one of the more underrated receivers in the NFL. He had a muff punt to start the game, and then he came out and he scored a touchdown, went on a 50-yard run to set up another touchdown. So that kind of shows you the leadership that the team has. Kelsey and Mahomes put them on their back and said, "We got this. You're going to make another play," and they ended up doing it, and the Chiefs ended up winning. They're just too dominant. The only really sad thing for Chiefs fans is Andy Reid's getting up there in age, so I don't think he'll be in the league much longer. But even when he leaves, whoever the next head coach is has a great future ahead of him.
My guess is that he'll retire the day he dies. Andy Reid loves football. The players love him. Even if it was bad for him, I feel like he would keep doing it just because of how much he loves to coach people and how much the players love to play for him. And I don't think anyone in the NFL ever again will probably have the same energy and love that players have for Andy Reid.
Yeah, because he's that great mentor that people can have. He drafted Mahomes and then had him sit a year under Alex Smith, and then Mahomes became the greatest quarterback. That's just the kind of development that Andy Reid can teach us. And remember, 4 years ago, Andy Reid had no rings. If he had won that AFC Championship 3 years ago, he would have had 3 rings. He's one of the top head coaches in the NFL.
Of all time. Actually, probably, arguably the best.
Him and Belichick could be one of the two.
Bucks beat the Packers. Tom Brady makes his 10th Super Bowl.
I saw a crazy stat after it said 10 Super Bowl. It's more it said Steph Curry's three-point percentage is 43%, and Tom Brady in his career has made the Super Bowl 47% of the time. So in any given season, Tom Brady has a higher chance to go to the Super Bowl than Steph does to make a three, which is just insane. That shows how great of a career he's had. He's a great winner. He knows how to lead. He's a great leader. He's a great leader, great winner, great champion, but he's not the GOAT.
Well, to me, he is. I mean, name another quarterback that's gone to 10 Super Bowls. There's no one like it. And again, when he went to Tampa Bay, everyone thought, well, maybe because without Belichick, they won't be as good. Are the Bucs going to be the Super Bowl contender? And then they make it a year after going 7-9 with a quarterback who went 30-30. The step up between Chris Godwin from last year to this year is incredible. Mike Evans has always been really good, really solid. Antonio Brown's even had a decent season whenever he joined. Leonard Fournette again. Tom Brady just makes that team better. He makes any team he goes to better.
Yeah, I'm not dissing Tom Brady in any way. I am dissing him, but not like to take away from everything he's done. He went to a team, and I think honestly, Bill Belichick held him back. Bruce Arians said that he lets Tom coach like the players, and I don't think Belichick let him do that. I think Belichick held his statue as the authority figure and didn't let Tom be himself. And if he would have let Tom be himself, they probably would have gotten a couple more rings.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about it. If he wins next week against the Chiefs, he would have won 70% of the Super Bowls he's been in, with only 3 losses, 2 of them coming to one team. So, I mean, it's just incredible that what Tom Brady's done in his career. For sure, Hall of Famer, greatest of all time for me.
I can't give him GOAT status, but close.
Agree to disagree.
Conor McGregor gets knocked out by Dustin Poirier in the second round.
I honestly, going into the fight, I thought McGregor was going to knock him out in the second round. Poirier out in the second round. I'm pretty sure it's because Poirier broke his leg. He couldn't really stand up. He was seen after the fight leaving in crutches and it just highlighted the respect that people have, like among the UFC. Conor McGregor was telling everyone how great of a champion Dustin Poirier is, how good of a fighter he is. They were both hyping each other up, giving each other mass respect, and I think that that's a respect level that I don't think you'll find in any other sport.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling that Poirier could have won it because a couple weeks ago, or whenever it was, McGregor kind of lost his whole crew, and he's just kind of talking up a big game. He's got something with Jake Paul going on, I guess, but I thought kind of that would get in his head, and Poirier might sneak an advantage to the win, and then he did in the second round. I wasn't expecting it that early. I thought it could have gone maybe 4-5, but I kind of expected maybe Poirier to win this one.
Yeah, McGregor always talks a big talk. If you're fighting Conor McGregor, you're headline news for the 3 weeks leading up to the fight. And the Jake Paul thing isn't going to happen because, McGregor has a broken leg and Jake Paul, like the hype has died from around it. He offered him a ton of money, like $50 million or something crazy like that, and McGregor still said no. So, and that's not going to happen. But I think that I really wanted McGregor to win this fight, but we can't always get what we want.
Yeah, true. But I mean, it just shows you sometimes having small talk, not having a big talk could help you win the fight because then you don't have a lot of things going on in your head.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Tyreek Hill or Mike Evans?
For me, it would be Mike Evans. I think that I get that Tyreek Hill's way faster than Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a go up and get it kind of guy, plays up to his strengths, and that's what Tom Brady uses, especially in the red zone. Put him one-on-one and he's unguardable. I think that he's one of the more underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Put up great numbers. The only receiver in the last 7 years to put up 1,000 yards in each of them. And he's just that good. Even without Tom Brady, with Jameis Winston as quarterback, he did really good. So I'd rather have Mike Evans, who can go up and get the ball.
I'd rather have Tyreek Hill. He's the speed guy, and no matter what you do to try to stop him, he's gonna be open. Just send him on a run across the middle of the field. He'll burn right past your corner, past your linebackers. Send him up the field. He'll burn past your safeties. Run him on a screen. He'll just run past everyone. And he has amazing hands. Over the last couple of years, his hands have developed into arguably some of the best hands in the NFL. And combine that with the quarterback with Patrick Mahomes, and the fact that he's not the only one receiver on that team. Like, they have to worry about Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. So I'd much rather have just Tyreek Hill just because of how fast and easy it is for him to get open. Mike Evans can go up and get it, but he's not, a go up and get it receiver isn't always as efficient as a fast receiver.
True, but sometimes the route running also comes into it. And again, you talk about the multiple receivers. Look at the Bucs; they have one of the best wide receiving core in the NFL. They have Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin to go with Mike Evans. Scotty Miller, again, really underrated wide receiver. A rookie, Tyler Johnson, who made one of the greatest catches I've seen in the postseason this year against the Saints. They have Gronk, who's again one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Cameron Brate, good one. Fournette and Ronald Jones at the backfield. I think that team is complete, and I think that Mike Evans is the star of that team from the receiving core.
I think that the Chiefs have a way better offense than the Bucs do. They have Kelsey at tight end. They have Hardman, Marcus Robinson. They have Le'Veon Bell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They just have so many big superstar playmakers on that team that it's almost unstoppable. I mean, yes, Fournette and Jones are good running backs, but when I look at Leonard Fournette, I see solid NFL running back. I don't see star. And the Chiefs are an 80-yard touchdown threat every single play. They're a touchdown threat every single play, just because of how fast and easy it is to get over the top. Tom Brady can only throw the ball so far to Mike Evans, and Mike Evans can only go up and get it against so many guys.
Well, yeah, but then you say that sometimes quick drives aren't always the ones to win. Sometimes you have long drives and keep your opponent off the field, and Tom Brady is an expert at doing that. And with Mike Evans having run those routes, I think Mike Evans is one of the best route runners in the NFL. So I think that with him going over the middle, it's impossible for anyone to guard.
I still think that it's Tyreek Hill, and the Chiefs can do long and methodical drives if they want to. They can just drop it off to Travis Kelce for 5 yards every play, or drop it off to Tyreek Hill for 5 yards every play. Hill is more valuable to the team than Mike Evans is, just because of the fact that Tyreek Hill will be open every single play. Mike Evans gets thrown into contested coverage.
And he comes down with those sometimes. That's what makes him so great.
Yeah, but sometimes Tyreek Hill comes down with it 95% of the time, as opposed to Mike Evans probably 45 to 50% of the time.
We'll see. I think it'll be a great wide receiver matchup, but I just have Mike Evans over this one.
Who will be NBA MVP, Defensive Player of the Year?
The NBA MVP this year will be Kevin Durant. I think that he's averaging 30. He's coming off of the torn Achilles. The Nets are arguably the best team in the East. They're just going to take a little bit longer to get that chemistry going with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. And then Defensive Player of the Year is Miles Turner. He's leading the NBA in blocks by a long distance. And he's just that defensive anchor that you want in the center, in the paint, and paint defenders. Centers normally win Defensive Player of the Year just because of their blocks and how crucial they are to winning games. So Kevin Durant is going to be the MVP, and Miles Turner is going to be Defensive Player of the Year.
My MVP's got to be Luka Doncic. I think that at the start of the season he wasn't really putting up pretty good numbers, and then now in the last couple games, he's put up MVP numbers. He's the favorite in my eyes. Putting up 30-point triple-doubles is basically what he does. He carries the Mavericks. With Porzingis on the team, it makes him better. So I think that Luka can shoot from anywhere. He's great in the paint, great outside. He's my MVP for sure. Although Kevin Durant, I can see maybe, but I just think that Luka will have a better year, considering that he's only got one partner with him and KD has two. And for me, the Defensive Player of the Year has to be Giannis again. I know he won it 2 years running, but I just think that Giannis is too good of a defender. He plays great inside the paint. He can cover anywhere. And so he's one of the tallest guys in the NBA. I think that comes into factoration with the blocks, but I think it's got to be Giannis for me.
I don't think Luka's going to win MVP. The Mavs, even with Porzingis, have been losing a ton of games, and when talking about the MVP, you have to factor in team success. And I think that Kevin Durant averaging 30 points a game with 6 or 7 assists, with the rebounds, however many rebounds he gets, plus the fact that Brooklyn will likely end up being the 1 or 2 seed, is going to contribute more than Luka Doncic is to the Mavs, who are probably going to be maybe the 6th seed with the way they've been playing. They haven't been playing great. And numbers are a factor, but if we were going based on numbers, Bradley Beal would be the MVP. He's averaging 35 with 6 assists and 5 rebounds a game, but his team's not winning, so he's not even in the conversation. You have to factor in team success, and I don't see the Mavs being that successful this year.
Well, I get they have to factor in team success, but down the stretch, the Mavs have won some tough games. They have a huge game tonight against the Jazz, which I think could be season-defining for them, because if they lose it, they go to 6-9. If they win it, they go to 7-8. It's a huge momentum changer for them. Luka has to be that MVP tonight.
I think that Luka's going to continue to put up numbers. I just think that the Mavs will continue to lose the close games, because you took away Luka's sharpshooter with Seth Curry being gone. And you got Josh Richardson, who is a good enough player, but he's more of a mid-range 2-point specialist. Well, Seth Curry was a 3-point specialist. And now the stretch on that team is Porzingis, Doncic, and Hardaway. They needed Seth Curry to stay on the team. And I think that their losing is going to make it so Luka doesn't win the MVP. And that's why Kevin Durant will win it, is because of the winning that the Nets are going to do.
Well, yeah, but you never know the Mavs. They have a great head coach, and I think he can turn their season around with a couple wins here and there.
Potentially. And I don't think Giannis is going to win Defensive Player of the Year for the second year in a row. I mean, yeah, he's just been in the media for too long. Like, you don't want to give the same awards to the same players over and over and over again, and that's definitely going to be a factor into who gets picked for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, because Giannis won MVP twice in a row, won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year last year, and I think that the voters for those awards are probably getting somewhat tired of just saying it has to be Giannis, that they've started watching other players more closely, such as Kevin Durant, Miles Turner, and Miles Turner being on a smaller market team like the Pacers is putting up amazing defensive numbers and offensive numbers too. So I think that just for the fact that Giannis and Luka have been portrayed by the media as they're gonna win these awards from the beginning, and then they've underperformed compared to what we thought they were gonna do, that it's gonna be Kevin Durant because no one thought he was gonna come back this good, and Miles Turner because no one thought he was gonna play this good.
Well, I can see where you're coming from, but I just think that sometimes the market kind of helps out the NBA with some of the ratings that they get, some of the money that they can make, and I think that Luka and Giannis right now are the two most marketable people in the NBA.
I think that I don't know about Giannis. I think that they could be the most marketable players in the NBA, but based on the market that they actually play in, Dallas is a pretty good sized market. Milwaukee is a tiny market. It's in Wisconsin. There's nothing in Wisconsin except cheese and the Packers. And then the Pacers are in a super small market in Indiana. So I think that just because Miles Turner is standing out above all else on the defensive side of the ball in such a small market, that he is the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, and Kevin Durant standing out after tearing his Achilles and then having to sit out a year and then coming back and just automatically being in title contention again just because he's on the team.
Well, we'll see. I think it'll be a close race down the stretch.
Yeah, when Miles Turner and Kevin Durant win MVP
Luka
and Defensive Player of the Year. It's not going to be Luka and Giannis.
What will the Miami Dolphins do with the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft?
The Dolphins are either going to I think they're going to go with Devontae Smith. He and Tua had a great relationship when they were in college together, and I think that the Dolphins are a playmaker away from the playoffs. Right now, their best receiver is Devontae Parker. Don't get me wrong; he's a good receiver, but he's not a great receiver. He's definitely would be better as a number 2 behind Devontae Smith. And then at tight end, you have a really good tight end, Mike Gesicki. And I think that if you take Devontae Smith, it gives that offense a whole new dimension just because of the chemistry that's already there between Tua and Devontae Smith. And I think that offense, it was really good last year, but all they want to do is improve. And if they don't go with Smith, I could see them taking Penei Sewell, the tackle out of Oregon.
Well, yeah, that was going to be my answer. I think they're going to take Penei Sewell. That offensive line last year, they took 2 in the first round, I think. And Austin Jackson really didn't have that really good a year. Their other one that they drafted, I don't remember his name, probably wasn't a starter. And so you draft Sewell, who was the best tackle before he opted out. You put him in, you plug him in, and he's a day 1 starter. You can give Tua that time from the strong side too, because he plays left tackle. He can play left guard too. He's versatile. I think that he is the second best player on the board for me, behind Trevor Lawrence. I just think that him on that offensive line would help Tua's strength so much better. I get where you're coming from. Maybe they need a weapon, but maybe you find that in the 2nd round.
I think that Sewell would be a great fit. I don't think he'd be a good fit on the Dolphins because left tackle is a blindside blocker position. And if you're a team like the Jets, you want a great blindside blocker. And if you're the Dolphins, you want a right tackle, and Sewell plays left tackle. It's really hard to make the transition from playing left tackle and not having the quarterback looking at you every single time you take the snap, versus playing left tackle with a left-handed quarterback who relies on you less than the person that's behind him. the left tackle is the most important position on the offensive line by far, and I think that that's why he's going to probably go to the Jets with the second pick. And Devontae Smith is something they need more. You can find an offensive lineman in free agency or the later rounds if you really need to. So that's why Devontae Smith is going to go.
Well, I just think that he's going to fall to them at 3. I don't think the Jets are going to take an offensive tackle. I think they're going to take either Zach Wilson or Justin Fields because I don't think Sam Darnold is that good. And plus, they just took Mekhi Becton last year, who is, again, a left tackle, turning into a star. I think that Penei Sewell into that offensive line with the Dolphins would just help to a strong side blocker. And I get that, you want a blind side blocker. Maybe Brian Flores can move him to the right tackle and play him there. But I just think that Penei Sewell would fit Miami more.
I don't think he's going to Miami for all the reasons I listed, and they need a receiver more than they need anything else. Devontae Parker is not a number 1 receiver. He's fast. He'd be a great slot receiver. But I think Devontae Smith can be that number 1 read. You can throw to him almost every single time because he's open every single time. And Tua and him already know each other, along with the fact that he's just won the Heisman Trophy. And they took O-lineman last year, and they're just trying to get him to develop. So I don't think that they're going to need an O-lineman this year.
Well, I mean, when you look at Fitzpatrick, when he was in, barely had any time to throw the ball because all of a sudden the defensive line was in his face. Tua had the same problem. I think that Sewell will give him some time, maybe roll out of the pocket. Again, I see where we're coming from with Devontae Smith, receiver away, but I just think that Sewell would help them on the offensive line and give Tua some time.
Yeah, but I think that overall you need a better receiver more than you need a better O-line, especially with a quarterback like Tua who can get out of the pocket and can throw on the run if he needs to. And I think that Sewell would be a luxury to have, but you need a receiver more than you need a luxury right now.
We'll see what happens. I just think that Sewell will be a better fit for this offense.
Who is more valuable to their team, Mahomes or Brady?
Patrick Mahomes is more valuable to his team. He can do everything you want him to. He can stand in the pocket. He can throw on the run. He can throw crossbody. He can make reads. Patrick Mahomes does everything you could ever want from a quarterback as far as mobility, throwing, power, throw power, accuracy, everything. And I think that he has the edge over Tom Brady just because Tom Brady went to a team that arguably could have made the playoffs without him. Just even with Jameis Winston, they could have made the playoffs, and I think that Mahomes, the Chiefs would be a decent team with Mahomes, but he adds the extra dimension to that team that no one else in the NFL can add.
Well, I mean, for me, it's got to be Tom Brady because they look at the Buccaneers last year; they went 7-9, and then I get Jameis Winston had eye surgery in the offseason, but they wouldn't have made the Super Bowl if they made the playoffs. I don't think Jameis Winston's that guy that can lead the team past the first round. But Tom Brady is. Playoff Brady becomes, the greatest of all time. He can win anywhere, win everywhere. He went 3 road games this postseason and won them all. I think that he is way more valuable than Patrick Mahomes because before Mahomes, the Chiefs were still making the playoffs. They still won the division. I get that Mahomes adds that extra dimension, but Tom Brady completely changed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think that you're overvaluing Tom Brady because the Buccaneers were already a really, really, really good team before Tom Brady got there. They had a pretty good quarterback with Jameis Winston who had a turnover problem, but every quarterback had a turnover problem before Tom Brady in their first year in Bruce Arians' system. Carson Palmer, when he was in Arizona and Bruce Arians got there, he had a terrible first season, but then the next year he went all the way off, and I think that they gave up on Jameis just a little too soon. And Mahomes took a team that was a playoff team and took them to the next level, like to a Super Bowl contender every single year. Brady, you're a playoff threat, but you're a playoff contender every single year. You're an arguable Super Bowl contender every year. But Mahomes just can do way more than Tom Brady can for your team. Tom Brady will throw the ball away rather than run 3 yards, and 3 yards could mean the difference between a field goal and losing.
Well, I just think that Tom Brady, again, just changed them because the last time they won a playoff game was 2002 and they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, he comes in, goes out and beats Washington. Again, it wasn't the strongest team. But then he goes out and he beats New Orleans, the team that destroyed him the first two games. And then he goes out and he beats Green Bay again in Lambeau. So I just think that him in the postseason is much more of a winner. Mahomes has been in the league 3 years, I get it. But I just think that Tom Brady's veteran status helps him with this one.
I think that Tom Brady's veteran status actually hurts him just because of how long he's been playing, and like it gives him the knowledge, it gives him the ability to know what's going to happen, but it definitely, like, you can see the physical difference between how he played 5 years ago versus how he plays now. And I think that his lack of mobility hurts the team, and Mahomes' use of mobility helps the team more than anyone could ever imagine.
But Tom Brady's still one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. He can find the seam that no one else can see because of his veteran status. He has the eyes, the discipline, and I just think that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I just think that with that read, even without when his second read is covered, he goes to his third read. Whenever his third read is covered, he's got his dump off pass. He's got his tight ends wide open. So I just think that his vision helps him win the games. That's why he has the edge.
His vision helps win games, but Mahomes' mobility wins games. Like, the helping winning games isn't the same as winning games. Like, being able to run the 5, 6, 2 extra yards to get into a field goal range for your kicker. I don't think Tom Brady could do that. He's too old and doesn't want to take a hit. Mahomes will take a hit for the team. We saw it a couple times this year. And Mahomes has played through injury, and he's the heart and soul of the NFL and the Chiefs. Tom Brady, he's a good leader on the Chiefs, not the Chiefs, the Bucs, but the heart and soul of the Bucs is, I don't know if it's him. It could be someone else.
I think it is him because, again, like I said multiple times, Jameis Winston was not the guy in Tampa Bay. So they go out, they get the greatest quarterback, and he comes in and revolutionizes the team. It just takes them to a whole nother level. Takes Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all to another level. They get Gronk back, and he becomes their number one tight end after O.J. Howard goes out. I just think that with him, he changed the way that everyone looks at the Bucs. Everyone now thinks the Bucs are the top team in the NFC. I think they will be next year. Again, they are this year. I just think that Tom Brady is way better right now. And I get that Patrick Mahomes. I think that Brady is just more valuable.
I think that Mahomes' youth, combined with his abilities, combined with his decision-making, make him more valuable. And Tom Brady's age hurts him just a little bit because he's not going to be able to stay around for very long.
But then again, Tom Brady's age kind of helps him because in the playoffs, he's used to it. He's made the playoffs every single season of his career. I mean, that shows you what kind of quarterback he is, and he just knows what's to expect in the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, but Mahomes has been the 1 or 2 seed every single season in his career. He's always had he's always played well enough in the regular season to get the first round bye. Tom Brady, I understand, is a different breed in the postseason, but his lack of mobility, combined with the fact that he's not easy to counter, but everyone knows what he's going to do. He's going to drop back and throw the ball, or he's going to take the sack. And I think that Mahomes, you have to worry about, is he going to roll out? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Everyone knows what Tom Brady's going to do to you, but you don't know what Mahomes is going to do to you. So that's why Mahomes is more valuable to his team.
Well, we'll see. I just think that Tom Brady's age helps him in this one.
What are the keys for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl?
The keys for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl are to establish a run game early against the dominant Bucs front seven with Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, Devin White, Levante David, just to be able to establish a run game with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell, along with Darrell Williams, just to open up the pass game deep to Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, DeMarcus Robinson, and maybe even the intermediate pass game with Travis Kelce.
Well, for me, it's got to be they have to utilize the middle of the field. The Bucs, they have a good linebacking core, but they don't have decent corners to keep up with Travis Kelce and those receivers. So I think if you utilize the middle of the field with Travis Kelce as a specialist, I think that'll definitely help them. We're going to see one of the safeties, Antoine Winfield, is a rookie trying to cover Travis Kelce, and that just won't work. So yeah, use Kelce in the middle of the field will definitely help them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree, but I just think that the use of the run game, because last year they used the run game against the 49ers. They set it up early. Damian Williams should have won the Super Bowl MVP last year, but he's not Patrick. He's on the same team as Patrick Mahomes, so that's not going to happen. And I just think that the run game will set up the deep pass game, and that's their specialty, is the deep pass game. So if they can get average 3 to 5 yards a carry, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I just don't think that they have a decent run game, not the best. I think the Bucs front seven is really good. So, but I don't think that their linebacking core is as good as their front seven. Their secondary isn't really that good. They have 2 corners and then Antoine Winfield, who are studs. But other than that, I don't see them trying to stop them. So again, middle of the field is where Mahomes needs to develop. Even with Hill on the crossing routes, that's unguardable.
Yeah, and linebackers are part of the front seven, and Antoine Winfield's a safety. So
Antoine Winfield's part of the secondary. Yeah.
You said corners.
I said the secondary, the two good corners and Antoine Winfield.
I see. But linebackers are still part of the front seven, and I think that Devin White could cause damage for the Chiefs. I just think that the Chiefs' offensive line is so amazing. Like, it's amazing what they do for Patrick Mahomes. And then they have Le'Veon Bell, who provides veteran leadership on the team at the running back position. He can he's a patient runner. He can tell Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams, wait for the hole to open up to you, and then if they need him to, he can power forward for 1 or 2 yards.
Well, then again, coming with that is their offensive line. Their left tackle, Eric Fisher, will be out this weekend. Suffered injury. That's obviously going to help or affect their run game because they're really going to have to use the right side with Mitchell Schwartz more. And Eric Fisher is one of the best run blockers in the NFL. So I just think that can help him. That can affect him. I just think that, again, the run game might not be there. Don't be surprised if it's not.
I won't be surprised if it's not, but the key to the game is that they need to establish it early.
Well, for me, it's using open field. I don't think Devin White or Shaq Barrett can cover Travis Kelce. So that's why the middle of the field will be the best part for Patrick Mahomes to throw.
Mm-hmm.
What are the keys for the Bucs to win the Super Bowl?
The keys for the Bucs to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Get those long drives going so that whenever Mahomes does get the ball, he's got maybe 3 minutes left in the quarter, maybe 5 minutes. Don't let Patrick Mahomes control the time of possession, and that's how you win the game. Tom Brady is an expert at having long drives, no matter where he starts from, because he uses the run game more than the Chiefs. And I just think that if they can do that, keep Mahomes, have 30 minutes of possession, have 40 minutes, they're going to win the game.
I don't think that's true, but I think the key for the Bucs to win this game is to be able to utilize the tight ends. You have 2 really good tight ends in Cameron Brate and Rob Gronkowski, and then they can run 5 to 10 intermediate routes over and over again, and Tom Brady can hit them over and over again. And I think that if you utilize the tight ends, it'll force the linebackers and safeties for the Chiefs to have to step up to guard them, and maybe end up leaving some Chris Godwin or Mike Evans deep open down the field. So I think that the tight ends are keying in on the tight ends is the most important part of the Bucs game plan.
I can see where you're coming from that. Again, the tight ends are really useful for Tom Brady. He loves throwing those tight ends. I just think that, again, if you Mahomes off the field, really helps him because we know how good he is, how good he can be, and how good he is on the run. I just think that if they keep him off the field, they have a way better shot at winning this game. Because if Mahomes has 35 minutes of time of possession, they're going to win the game. It's undoubtedly theirs.
Yeah, and keeping the ball away from Mahomes will help, but if need be, Mahomes has led plenty of game-winning drives in his career, and he can play under pressure. He can get the ball wherever you need it to on the field from any angle, anywhere. And I think that keeping him off the field won't stop him, if that makes sense. He's going to get his possessions. He's going to get his time on the field, and I think he's going to utilize almost every single one of his opportunities to score the football. And that's why the Bucs need to rely on just being able to use their tight ends. You could even use the tight ends in the deep game if you need to. And I think that's will be the biggest component if they win is the tight ends.
I think they also need to utilize Scotty Miller more. He's kind of like that Julian Edelman to Tom Brady. We saw it on the last play of the first half against the Packers. So Scotty Miller is definitely going to have to be the X factor in this game for the Bucs.
I disagree.
Today's games in the NBA. Let's start with the Pistons versus the Cavs.
It's got to be the Cavs. I mean, they beat the Nets twice. Colin Sexton is going off. Darius Garland is an up-and-coming point guard. They have Isaac Okoro, along with Taurean Prince and Jared Allen in the trade from the Nets. And I think that the Cavs just have a younger, more talented roster.
Yeah, I got the Cavs winning this one too. I got the Pacers. They just beat the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken. But sometimes that could carry a lot of emotion going into the next game. I just think that Colin Sexton's really good. So give me the Cavs on this one.
Magic versus Kings.
I think it's going to be the Kings. De'Aaron Fox has been playing really well. Buddy Hield's been playing really well. Marvin Bagley has started to show a little bit of promise. And I understand that the Kings don't have that much bench depth at the moment, but they have Tyrese Halliburton off the bench, the rookie point guard who's in conversation for Rookie of the Year.
He's going off.
And I think that just that little bit off the bench is going to help them more than slightly overpower the Magic.
I think this will be a very close game, very low-scoring game. But I have the Magic winning. I don't think that the Kings defensively are very good. They've given up 120-plus in 5 straight games. And I get that De'Aaron Fox is a superstar, but I just don't think that they have enough. So give me the Magic in this one. Very close game, though.
Give me the Kings.
Hornets versus Pacers.
For me, it's got to be the Hornets. I don't think that the Pacers are any good, and LaMelo's kind of starting to get those minutes again. I just think that he's far and away Rookie of the Year, so give me the Hornets in this one.
I think that you underrate the Pacers. I think that they're a pretty good team. I have the Pacers winning this one. Miles Turner is going to be a force in the paint. He's averaging like 3.4 blocks a game or something crazy like that. And LaMelo is primarily he's a slasher and a passer, and I think that Miles Turner sitting in the paint will definitely offset what the Hornets like to do, which is get in the paint, because they don't have very many shooters on that team. And I think that the Pacers are going to win.
Well, I have the Hornets winning it.
Raptors versus Bucks.
It's going to be the Bucks. I don't think that the Raptors are having a very good season, and the Bucks are always been one of the top contenders. So give me the Bucks in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be the Bucks. I love the Raptors. I love Pascal Siakam. I love Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby. I love the Raptors team. I just think that they're not playing very well right now, just because I don't even know why they're not playing very well right now. I love Nick Nurse as a head coach. I just think that they lost too many bench pieces in the offseason, so I think that that's the biggest contributing factor to why they're losing, so I had to go with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Hawks versus Nets.
I'm going to go with the Hawks on this one. I think that Trae Young is a great matchup to Kyrie Irving. I think Bogdan Bogdanovic is a great matchup to James Harden as far as the ability to score, because both of them can't play defense. I think that Cam Reddish is a great matchup with Joe Harris, because Cam Reddish is a pretty good perimeter defender. Even DeAndre Hunter is a pretty good perimeter defender. I think that John Collins and Kevin Durant is going to be very exciting. I think it's going to end up being a very defensive game. DeAndre Jordan versus Clint Capella. And then off the bench, they have Rondo, they have Gallinari, they have Herder, they have Reddish or Hunter, whichever one isn't starting. They have Onyeka Okongwu, who they took with the 6th overall pick. I just think that the Hawks right now are a young team, and I think that the Nets are still trying to develop that championship chemistry. That it's going to take a little while to get there, but they're going to get there in the next couple weeks.
I got the Nets winning this one. I can give the edge to the Hawks on the bench because the Nets lost a lot of their stars in the trade, but I just think that their big three finally started clicking over the Heat. James Harden's going to have a good game. Kevin Durant's going to have a big game. So give me the Nets in this one. Very close game because I think Trae Young will have a very good game too.
Heat versus Nuggets.
Give me the Nuggets. I think that Nikola Jokic versus Bam Adebayo is going to be one of the funnest matchups to watch that I've seen, the matchups that we've seen this year. I think that Jimmy Butler versus Michael Porter Jr. is going to be an interesting matchup to watch. And I think that the Nuggets team is just ready to win, has that little edge to win more because they're in the West, and the Heat were in the finals last year. They know what it feels like to be in the finals, and I think that they have I just think that the Nuggets are more star-powered at the moment, and in the early parts of the season, like we're at now, star power means more.
Yeah, I got the Nuggets winning this one too. I think it'll be a very close game because Miami, they're still a very good team even though the record doesn't show. But I just think that the Nuggets are a more complete team than them, so give me the Nuggets this one.
Spurs and the Celtics.
Give me the Celtics. The Spurs kind of have fallen off over the last couple of years since Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili retiring and leaving the Spurs. And the Celtics have taken strides to be amazing. Last year I said that they were a defensive center away from winning a championship, and they went out and signed Tristan Thompson, who's one of the best defensive centers in the NBA, in my personal opinion. And then you have Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart could even come off the bench if you needed him to. That's how deep they are on that team. Robert Williams is a great center off the bench. I just think that the Celtics have a way more better built team than the Spurs do.
Yeah, give me the Celtics. I think Jaylen Brown has really come on the last couple of games. Kemba Walker, since he's been back, has been really good. Jason Tatum's always been that superstar that they want there in Boston. So I think the Celtics are going to win this one big.
Yeah.
Suns versus the Thunder.
I think that it's going to be the Suns. I mean, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, they've kind of gone out of relevancy just because they play in Phoenix, which is a very, very small market. But that's almost big three contention right there. Just if DeAndre Ayton can step up, it's a big three. Devin Booker has already showed what he can do on the offensive side of the ball, scoring 70 points in a game already in his career before he turned 25. And Chris Paul has been a leader on many, many, many different teams that he's been to. He led the Thunder to the 5th seed last year after everyone thought they were going to have a top 5 pick. And then he almost won a playoff series. And then on top of that, the Suns just have some young depth with Cameron Johnson. And then, I just think the Suns are a more better built team.
Yeah, I got the Suns winning. I think Devin Booker is one of the more underrated players in the NBA, and I think he is also one of the top players in the NBA. So give me the Suns in this one. I think it'll be a decent game. I think it'll be fun to watch, but I have the Suns winning this one, pulling away with it.
Yeah.
Pelicans and Wizards.
Give me the Pelicans. The Washington Wizards are not good right now. Bradley Beal needs to get out of there. The lowest he scored in a game this year was 27, and I mean he's just too good. He's too good to be for there. So I have the Pelicans winning this one big.
I would love to say the Wizards. I love Russell Westbrook. I love Rui Hachimura. I just think that both teams have been playing terrible. Let's just get that out of the way. But I think that in the game with terrible teams, that the Pelicans just have that little bit of an edge as far as being bad.
Warriors versus Timberwolves.
Give me the Warriors. I don't think that the Timberwolves are good. I think James Wiseman is going to have a good game. Steph Curry is going to be Steph Curry. So I think I have the Warriors big this one.
I also have the Warriors winning this one. The Wolves are a really, really amazingly talented team. They're not an amazing team because they don't have a good head coach. They're so talented. They have D'Angelo Russell. They have Josh Okogie, Karl Anthony Towns. They took Anthony Edwards with the first overall pick. They're such a talented young team, but their head coach is just atrocious. He caused Jimmy Butler to only play there for a little bit. And I don't know. I just think that the Timberwolves organization needs a complete overhaul from the top down. And I think that if they can do that, they'll be able to win games just because of how they're so talented.
Yeah.
So I have the Warriors winning.
Mavs versus Jazz.
Give me the Jazz. I think that they're going on an 8-game win streak. They're one of the more underrated teams in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert putting up really good numbers. So I have the Jazz pulling out a very close game.
I have the Mavs winning this one. I mean, they need to get a win somewhere. I think that Luka will play an amazing game, but it takes more than just Luka playing an amazing game for them to win. I think Kristaps Porzingis will have an okay game, but I really think that the matchup between Willie Cauley-Stein and Rudy Gobert is going to be a very fun one to watch. But the most important one to watch is the small forward matchup between Joe Ingles, who's been playing small forward for the Jazz, and Tim Hardaway, who I'm pretty sure has been playing small forward for the Mavs. Both of them are very key role players on that team, and if Tim Hardaway steps up, I think that the Mavs are going to win, and I think he will step up. So I have the Mavs winning.
It'll be a very fun game to watch.
Yeah.
Lakers versus 76ers.
This is the game of the day. I mean, arguably the game of the week. Both teams really hot. Joel Embiid versus Anthony Davis is going to be such a fun matchup to watch. And even if I don't really care who wins. I think that the game is going to be amazing. I think that Ben Simmons will have a good game. I think that LeBron is going to just continue to do LeBron-like things. But I have the Lakers winning it just because of their depth and the fact that the Sixers are still plagued with the corona because of Seth Curry.
Yeah, I got the Lakers winning this one too. Again, very fun game to watch, very close game. I think they get Embiid back, who was rested the last game, so he wouldn't miss this game. Seth Curry's getting back to full strength. Tobias Harris has been putting up pretty good numbers, but I just think that the Lakers are a more complete team than the Sixers, and I think LeBron's going to have a very, very good game tonight.
And I think Frank Vogel's a better head coach than Doc Rivers.
Yeah, 100%.
That has been this week's episode of Beyond the Sideline. Thanks for watching. I'm Chase Dykema, joined with Will Stephenson and Anthony Silvani.